Here we are again. I'm going to wait, starting a little bit early. I'm going to wait for people to come on, because apparently that's how live works. I can't do the land importer gorilla stare. Sorry. I'm too sarcastically mimicky for that. Very, very difficult. Just had a fun client call. I'm doing a little bit of book editing, which of course, if you know me at all, doesn't come with just the mechanical editing. It comes with the whole marketing suite of what are we going to do, what are we going to turn this into, and how are we going to make it fun. Hey guys. Oh, what's up, Ryan, Sean, Seth? Awesome. Just kicking it for a little bit, waiting for some people to come on. Seth, I liked your blog entries. Had a chance to look at a few, so that's cool. Wallace Wattles is it's one of those books. Keep going back to, you and me both. Some good stuff in there. So I want to talk about your 2019 revenue plan, and it's your plan, it's not my plan. And if you don't have a revenue plan, well, shame on you. It's very, very difficult to succeed without one. Conversely, with one, you have a much better chance of actually getting to where you're going. Now, here's the problem. Most people never set a money target. Money, cash, revenue, sales, same thing, okay? They never set a target. They're just in this world of, oh, I'm going to make as much money as I can. And that is terrible. It's terrible on many, many levels. It's terrible on the subconscious level because you're not telling your mind and your spirit, what do I want to create? And if you're not a woo-woo person, think about it very mechanically. If you're not saying to yourself, I want to make X amount of dollars over Y period of time, then you're never going to be able to develop that plan, that logistical, tactical plan to go get it, right, and create it. Either way, you're creating your reality. The other thing that not having a specific revenue target does to you, which, and again, I've been doing this, I've been online since 2011, helping people, okay? It's been a long time. Hey, Stuart. It is the biggest problem that people have. And you can do it in any industry. You can do it as a coach. You can do it as a VA. You can do it as a software as a service founder. You can do it as a professional services company expert owner like myself. Have your revenue plan. Set a target over the next year of money that you want to make. Let's say things go crazy and you exceed it. Great. Develop a new plan after that, okay? But set the target. Now, here's the problem of not setting the target that I was getting into earlier and then I distracted myself, is you will hop from shiny object to shiny object. And whenever you do that, I have a graph on salestactics.org later on. If you go to salestactics.org/bootstrap, like bootstrapping your business, so salestactics.org/bootstrap. I have a audio series in there, training on business fundamentals. And all the really competent people who know what they're talking about have listened to it and said, oh, this is amazing and everybody should listen to it. And all the newbies get about, I don't know, half an hour in and probably leave because it's not telling them, how do I make a buck today? And that's the problem. Okay, you need to have a plan and stick to something. So in there, there's a graph that I've got about the exponential growth curve. And the exponential growth curve starts off pretty flat, and then there's an ignition point, and it goes like that, right? And that can be the revenue of your business. You dawdle along for a long time, growing at a very low rate. And this can be frustrating because you think it's linear, right? I put in 1x of effort and I get 1x of profit, right? That's the way it should be, a straight line. So there's this gap between the low-level curve of the real way things work, the exponential growth curve, and the straight line of that linear growth that you think it should be. and there's a gap there, and that gap is your disappointment. So you don't know. That's the way it works. Then you get on Oprah, and that's your ignition point, you know, and zzz, there you go. Okay, but to get to that point takes a lot of grinding it out. So every time, anyway, this is my point here. Every time that you jump from shiny object to shiny object, you go back to 0, 0 on that exponential growth curve, and you lose all that gradual growth that you've created, creeping up the exponential growth curve, and you're back to 0 again. So if you set a money target, what will happen is you will start to decide, and that will, and this is scary for some of you, that will cut off some choices, okay? You will not be able to go work on this thing over here. I'm here to tell you that that's good, okay? A lot of the stuff that we feel, experience, and just kind of run into as business owners and solopreneurs and that is, it's a matter of interpretation. Like, I have a great video about this that has helped a lot of people about reinterpreting the feelings of change. Nobody ever told you that those alarm bells ringing and feeling kind of off your feet and wonky and all that and scared, those are just your interpretation of signals, data, right? The data is the data. It's inert. It has no special intention on you or anything like that, right? Like some people are afraid of spiders, okay? I'm not a big fan, but I'll take them and put them in a plastic container and take them outside and put them away. Probably killing them because the house spiders aren't really supposed to be outside. But anyway, it's my interpretation of the spider that's most important. When I was a teenager, I wouldn't go anywhere near them, right? They're just too alien to me. But now I've gotten good enough to reinterpret that spider signal as not a threat, something that I can handle and put it into a plastic container and try and remove somewhere without killing it. So that's the same thing applies to the feeling of change out there in the business world. When things are going crazy and whatnot, your interpretation of that data is much more important than what actually might be happening, and you can reinterpret it. You can hear those alarm bells and go, good, I'm succeeding, I'm making progress. I have a bigger problem than I had yesterday. And that's good, because if you can solve bigger problems, you can make more money. Okay, let's get into the 2019 marketing plan for you. What I'm going to talk about are 3 levels of thinking about your marketing plan and your revenue plan. What you can do to make sure that you create the result that you really want. Again, most people never get this far. They're just drifting from shiny object to shiny object, more lurching than drifting. You know, it's a very jerky kind of experience for them. And they keep going back to 0, 0 on that exponential growth curve. And then they end the year not very far along from where they started it. You know, you remember Pareto's law, the 80-20 rule? You probably heard this. Again, I was taught this in 1994, okay, as part of my operations management training back in college. I've been an executive for 15 years and then 7 years running my own business after that. I have a lot of corporate experience, and somebody pointed out to me what I ought to be doing and talking about is bringing champion corporate processes into the online marketing world. The stuff that the online marketers are talking about that they think is so great and new and whatnot, we've been using out there for 50 years. It's not anything new, really. And you got an expert here who's seen and done all that stuff. You know, I was a plant manager when I was 25, 150 people working for me at a factory, had 6 supervisors reporting to me when I was 26. I was a credit manager for a national electrical wholesaler for 4 years, collecting $2 million a month. I ran a metal fab shop. I did turnaround consultant in my late 20s. I remember going to an interview at the end of that period. I got back into, I was business development manager at an IT firm after that. You know, so I have a lot of experience. That's before I came to the U.S. almost 10 years ago. And the guy looks at me and he looks at my resume and he looks back again and he goes, "You've been surviving out there on your own for 2 years?" Right? They are not used to that, right? So you have a lot of experience here and skill sets able to help you. So I'm going to give you an outline here, and if it's something that you want me to work on with you, then get a hold of me after. Obviously, I want you to be serious and committed, and it's not going to be cheap, but I think you'll agree that the effects are really powerful of setting this kind of a target. So you set your money target, and again, you can raise this thing or lower it at any time based on how you feel. Now, the big thing that I want you to understand is called money tolerance, okay? And I did a 3-hour Friday Night Live with Landon Porter in the Getting Clients Without Being Salesy group. I'll link to that later under this thing. You can go in there and join and whatnot. It's a great marketing group. I totally agree with their marketing process. You should follow that. And this is the sales trainer speaking. I've been a sales trainer for like 10 years, saying get there, Getting Clients Without Being Salesy group. It's also called the Gorillas group, if you've heard it referred to that way. Okay, money tolerance is like a thermometer about how you're feeling about yourself, your value, and what you can offer out there in the world. Now, it's buffeted around like weather by a bunch of things. So one day to the next, there'll be, I graph this, by the way. I have a whiteboard. It's a little whiteboard, and I graph this, how my money tolerance is doing from day to day. And when it gets out of whack, I go talk to trusted friends of mine about it. I go watch it's good mindset videos and spiritual type videos to get my, what you might call, vibration back up, or my thought about myself back up. Because again, remember what I was saying, it's all about interpretation of the data, not the data itself, how you feel about it, to get that up there. And they're goalposts. Money tolerance has a high end and a low end about the answer to this question. How much do you think is a lot of money? And I do this with, I train salespeople and executives all the time. And I start with this, and they don't see me coming, and I hit them with it, and they give me a baloney answer every time. They lie, and they're lying to themselves, and they give me this way out there, way above the high actual money tolerance number figure, like $100,000. And I go, okay, well, what if you had to actually get that money today, right now? Right? And we creep it back down, you know, $50,000, oh, I guess so, okay, 30, 20, 10, 5, right? And we get down, and I'll tell you the typical amount that people think of as a lot of money is $2,000 to $5,000. They actually had to get it today. It's very low. How the hell can you sell a $15,000 program if you think $2,000 is a lot of money? Okay? So this is why money tolerance is so important to work on. And you can move those goalposts up. On the low end, I suffer from the low end problem. I can't sell a $50 thing. I don't care. It's lame to me, right? I'm just like, whatever. Why am I wasting my time on this? And I will figure out ways to screw up the sale if the thing is under a certain amount. Okay, that's why you don't see me offering little things, right? So. And it's a great filter as well, right? We're sorting, we're qualifying for the right kind of buyer, right? The right kind of prospect. And so if we look for people who have the same money tolerance that we do, and not everybody does, right? That's a big mistake that people make, is they think that everyone is like themselves. No, your money tolerance, I was saying it was buffeted about a lot, right? It gets knocked around by all these limiting beliefs, like your family. Your parents installed money tolerance beliefs in your brain when you were a kid, and you don't even know it, right? Unless you start dragging this stuff out into the sunlight. You know, like they argued about buying this washer and dryer set, and it was $600, you know. Oh, that's a lot of money. I don't know if we could. You heard that. It's in there. It's infected you with the idea of what is a lot of money, right? So how the heck can you go out there and sell something that's a higher ticket offer if you're still inundated by this stuff and have your blinders on, your filters on, don't even know it? This is the problem. We're in a war with ourselves. That's 99.9% of the problem. It isn't the competition. It isn't the marketplace. It's you. And you need to figure out how to start playing the game right. There are other people who are better than me about mindset. If you're a salesperson or business owner who wants to work on this stuff, you should probably talk to me. But somebody like Aaron File is probably a better choice than me for dragging out these limiting beliefs. But for specific things, pretty good. I have a pretty good track record about it. So your money goal is going to be affected by that money tolerance figure. And whatever number you come up with, I encourage you to walk around it, ask yourself, journal about it, write it down, figure it out. Why? Why that number? What is it about that number? What is it, society telling me that that's a lot of money? Is it what, you know, you have to believe that you can get that money, but I encourage you to stretch a little bit too. So if it was $50,000 or $100,000 or something, I would say go for 60 or 120 or something like that, okay? You really do have to believe you can get it. You don't have to know the exact way you're going to get it. I'm all right with that, okay? You can, to some degree, figure it out as you go along. We're going to get into some of that stuff with the 3 layers of what to look at here. But don't let that stop you, right? I don't know how. Nobody knows how until they've done it. And then they offer a course on it, and sometimes it's laughable, like the guys who made $30,000 in the e-commerce space. Pfft, that's a spit in the ocean. It's nothing. You should not be offering a course if that's what you've done. It's just not. But nobody knows how they've done it until after they've done it, okay? Even if you have the roadmap from the coach and whatnot, you have to still walk through the territory. The map is not the territory, okay? So first level, strategy, okay? Strategy. Most people are not strategic thinkers. What are you going to do in your life that's going to gear everything towards this goal? Okay, I can tell you, I kept that credit manager job, and it was not a hard job for me, getting on the phone and talking to people about a very touchy subject called money for 4 years. You know why? Because I was running for city council. I ran twice, and my whole life was bent towards that goal, okay? And I didn't get elected, and I was bitter about that for like 3 years. This was 2002 and 2005. I probably didn't get over being bitter about it for 3 years till 2008, just before I moved to the US, okay? Imagine you've got your whole life geared towards this one thing, and you think it's like a life purpose, God's mission for you, whatnot, and the train goes by, and it doesn't stop. And you can feel the wind of it blowing by in your face, right? I did a lot. I volunteered a lot with my community. I know how to run a city, okay? And I didn't get the chance to get elected. And there were some specific reasons why. I could have, if I had made one choice to be disloyal to the person who had supported me the entire way. So anyway, if I had been elected there, we wouldn't be talking now. I never would have left Canada. So consider it a plus, all right, that I came here and then eventually got into running my own business. So you want to like gear your life towards this thing. Cool, Stuart. Come and check it out later on. I mean, the replay will be there, right? Okay. You can set the target for whatever you want, and you can always adjust the target, achieve it, and then, you know, improve on it. That's fine. But you need that goal because it's going to direct your life and your choices. Like, what do I need to do to get there? Okay. If I'm going to try and make $100,000 by selling a $50 thing, I can do that. Okay, it's possible, but I'm going to need a pretty darn good distribution channel or 5 to get in front of enough prospective customers to get to that goal. Okay, me personally, I'd rather sell some $10,000 coaching programs and sell one a month and have a couple months to spare. Okay, that's the way I would do it, but that's the way to think about it. So there's a thing called seasonality. That's, you know, I got 3 years of statistics, and that was probably covered in the first. Christmas time is a seasonal thing, right? There's a big gift buying thing. We know that on Amazon, the Black Friday stuff, that's a seasonal thing. There's Amazon Prime Day. That's kind of a seasonal thing. Covered this in the last live. People go hunting in the fall, right? So just before that is when they're going to buy most of their gear, okay? So that kind of thing. Plastic pools. You ever drive by Walmart, right, in the late spring and see all them plastic pools lined up, tipped on their sides outside? That's seasonality, right? These things are, there's always a seasonal area in there, by the way. So you can build that in and go, okay, I know that most of the interest in my coaching program is in the spring. So out of those 10 that I'm going to sell, I'm going to do like 6 or 7 of those during that period. That's what I'm going to plan for. Okay. So that's just a strategic level. The second level is the tactical level. Okay. How am I going to actually get to those sales, right? I know the revenue target, and then I've backed out to the number of sales I need to make by figuring out the price level of what I'm going to sell at. Remember I said that like choosing will cut off some choices to you, right? Like for me, the $50 options of selling, I don't even know what, crappy e-commerce things is cut off from me. There's no point in me doing it. I bought a really great book on running an affiliate marketing business for free signups. You get paid for helping people sign up for free. And I built out the site. It's still there. I just paid for the renewal on I got to pay somebody to work on this for me. It's not worth my time because I could make maybe 20, 30 bucks a sale, okay, for getting people to sign up through that site and the affiliate link. And it's just like, I don't care. I can make more money faster, better, and have a more fun time working with clients at the higher level, okay? So that's the deal with the strategy and cutting things off. But you want to be thinking about, okay, I want to make that $100,000. I'm going to divide it into 10 $10,000 programs, and I'm going to distribute them over the year in this way. I'm not going to sell any in November, right? Because November sucks. I don't know. I'm just making that up, right? Then the tactical level. This is about what is my plan for how am I going to get to those 10 sales or whatever it is, right? And again, you can do this with a software as a service. You can do this with anything. What I want you to get at here is to an idea of what the daily behavior targets are going to be. What do I or someone working for me have to do? That's the third level, which is the execution. Today, to get me to that goal. You know the thing, do the right things long enough and the results will come, right? I've seen this. Hockey is inbred in me, right? Like it's built in. I'm from Vancouver. I'm Canadian. It's like a, you know, they brand you with it when you're a little kid. I love it. When I moved away from Vancouver, I didn't watch hockey for like 8 years. Just, I'm in North Carolina. Nobody gives a damn, right, about hockey down here. Doesn't appear on the news. I didn't think about it. Canucks went to the finals for the second time, third time in my life, and I didn't even know. So, but last year I got back into hockey during the playoff season. I turned the TV on and this helmeted thing logo was on, and I'm like, who is that? Is it the Ottawa Senators? Because they have a helmet too. It turned out to be the Vegas Golden Knights going to the Stanley Cup Finals in their first season. Which is really great. And I've gotten back into hockey, and I'm watching it this year, and there's some teams, in Vegas in particular, didn't do so well in the opening, say, 10, 15 games of the season, up to about 20 games. Then they got a really good defensive player back. And they started, he affected the culture so much. They started doing the right things again. And guess what? They've won, I don't know, 12 out of their last 14 games or something like that. They've done really, really well. They started doing the right things long enough. And so that's what this tactical level is to give you the roadmap out of. I will share with you, I've done hundreds of coaching calls over the years, starting in 2012 on funnels. I was doing them before people even called them funnels. The number one thing that I have seen that people don't have and that is leading them to death in their business is not enough leads, not anywhere near enough leads coming in to their system, okay? And we're all about planning here, right? So we need to know. That's something we need to control, and it is something that you can have control over. Conversion, that's a little tougher, right? I might have to talk to somebody. I don't know how I'm going to perform in that sales call. I do, but you know, I don't know how you're going to perform. That sales letter we're going to put up that's untested, I don't know. That VSL, same thing, right? But the number of leads, like you can imagine a pitcher of water, right? And every drop is a lead. I can control that. I can go out there and get those leads. I can either pay for them or I can do things. I used to be a member of a forum early on where I can tell you my posts were about $30 a piece. That's what they were worth to me there. Think about that. Okay, every time I posted, I would eventually make $30 or so for it. All right, I mean, when that's paying off, you're there posting, right? That's the machine that needs to be running. But I knew that number, and I know a lot of people just don't bother to find out. So not enough leads coming into your system. You probably don't have enough leads coming into your system, and I encourage you to figure this out, okay? How many leads does it take for you to get a sale? Jason, my business is new. I don't know. Okay, you probably don't qualify to work with me if you're in that situation, because you probably don't have enough money or commitment to the idea. And I'm zinging you to try and get a reaction out of you. Maybe you will knuckle down and commit, okay? The number of leads that you're going to need, you can estimate, okay? Estimate conservatively and then track as you go and then adjust the ratio as you go, okay? I know, and it's different for each business. Like an e-commerce business might be, if they get a good traffic source, it might be like 10% or something like that, or 5%, right? Buy. It might even be better if they can get that in there. So 1 in 20, right, becomes a sale. For Jason and his highly expensive, very valuable professional services, I need a lot. I need like 100 people coming in to get a few good ones that I can talk to, and then I know I'm going to close 1 in so many, right? So it depends on your business what these ratios look like, but you really have to know, and this is the language of professional marketers, by the way, is knowing how many leads they need, what their cost of customer acquisition is to get that sale, okay? They know that. This is why people trying to get affiliates really suck, is they don't talk the language of affiliates. They don't talk the language of professional marketers. They bust in there and they're like, oh, this thing is so great, and you need to, it's got all these features, you need to promote it to your list. They don't even ask like, hey, is your list a fit for this thing? They don't even begin with that. And they don't have any numbers or any estimates. Like, we think it will do this. If you could say that, you would perform 100 times better in trying to get people interested in being affiliates, with the legit affiliates for your product. So what I have found over the years talking to all these people is that the individuals who run businesses are out by a factor of 10 to 100 times. Think about that, on the number of leads that they need. So if they need 4 leads to make a sale, right, or they think they need 4 leads, excuse me, they need 40 or 400s. They're like, it's out of whack. Can you see how you are beaten before you start if you walk in with that kind of a lack of knowledge, right? No business intelligence is a super common thing out there. People don't ask, they don't have knowledge about their own industry, they don't look up expert statistics, like knowing what your bar is. What is the level here that I ought to be achieving, right? I had a video about this that I made for the Sales Tactics series a couple years ago. I talked about golf. I was getting into golf at the time, and I was putting, and that's the best part of my game. I'm not good at the air game. I'm good at the ground game. And I was pissed off at myself because I thought my putting sucked, and I went and I looked up, again, difference between me and everybody else, and I found out that half the time pro players, people who do this, eat, breathe, sleep golf, right, and get paid for it, miss about half the time from 8 feet on putts. Like, once you know that, you're like, oh, I'm not doing so bad after all, right? So you need to get that business intelligence and find out what reality is, right? What's the average, typical thing for your business? And then that will help you out with your estimates and feeling better about yourself, okay? So right away, going back to this lead thing, people are beaten before they start, and that's the most horrific thing for me. Like, oh, that's the thing that I feel best about in doing a funnel consultation with somebody, is helping them get their head straight about this thing and realizing, okay, I need 400 instead of 4, right? And then they can go out there and use their tactical level thinking to figure out, how am I going to get that 400 this month? What am I going to do to pour that pitcher of 400 leads into the hopper of my my conversion engine, right, this month? And there are so many ways to do that. You could do that with paid marketing, right? Drawing in leads from banner ads and Facebook and LinkedIn and a whole bunch of other places. If you don't have that, that's fine. You can go on forums. You can go on Facebook groups. I get a thing out of Facebook groups every month. Something, okay? And I'm not, I don't know, 10 or 15 people. I get a thing out of Facebook groups every month. Something, okay? And I'm not, 10 or 15 people. I get a thing out of Facebook groups every month. Something, okay? And I'm not, 10 or 15 people. I get a thing out of Facebook groups every month. Something, okay? I'm a member of maybe 100 groups tops, and I look in about 6 every day. That's it. And I try and answer questions to the best of my ability. That's my marketing plan. All right. But that brings me a controlled number of leads every month, and I will make at least one sale out of it. And am I depending on this? No. It's a nice to have. It's a bonus, right? But that's how it's factored in. A lot of people are out there desperately trying to make money from that one thing, and that's just the wrong way to do it, right? But your website, your social media, sharing articles on Twitter, getting into discussions, right? Conversations with qualified prospects lead to sales. That's the number one thing you need to be doing, whether you're running a SaaS or a service firm or even e-commerce. Somehow you've got to get that conversation going. It could be a one-way conversation. Television is a one-way conversation. This, for the most part, is a one-way conversation. I am broadcasting. I don't have time to look at all these comments. I love all you being here, by the way. Appreciate it very much. Nothing's worse than sitting there being lonely on a Facebook Live, right? So here we are. And I don't do too many of these, right? But you want to get it down to knowing, first estimating, and then getting data and correcting over time, right? After 3 months of activity, you should know. Here's another statistic secret I'm going to let you in on. Most people don't last 3 days with a new idea. 3 days. You'll see statistics out there. Most businesses fail within 90 days, right? First year. They don't even last that long. That's just somebody desperately holding on and probably their significant other paying for their bills or something like that. 3 days is the most sustained effort I typically see people make on a new idea. And why? Because their belief in success is based on the shiny object, and they don't do any of the stuff that I'm talking about today about planning. They just rush in there and go, okay, I'm gonna sell this thing. This is a infrared thermometer, by the way. Best toy in the world. Cats love it. And that's it. And that's what they base their success on. The success belief has to come from here, from you. I'm going to stick with this until I figure it out, this one thing. Because anything will work. I could go out there, I'm pointing at the window right now, stand on the street corner, and it's not a very busy street, with a sign written in cardboard about selling something, and eventually that would work. Eventually. I might have to have 1 million cars go by, but eventually it would work. And then I would have an idea. I'd probably want 2 sales. So get your numbers. Sean just dumped a number in there, okay? Okay, I think that's high, 1 in 100. I think they're doing better. I mean, I've done tons of e-commerce store consultations, particularly on behalf of clients who offer like contests and upgrade solutions for e-commerce stores. And most of them have no idea what the heck they're doing. They got a bunch of crap that they like, and it's like a mix of electronics and toys and food and stuff like that, and it's all jumbled together, and it's junk. And it's like, there's no wonder why nobody's buying. There's no strategy here. There's no target market. There's no clear idea of who the ideal customer is, and there's no steady stream of leads coming in to your conversion tool. And there's also no strategy on the conversion side of things. Sending a guy to the sales page for this with its features listed usually in tiny font is not a sales strategy. Okay, so there are 6 categories of sales and marketing that you need to consider, and that's the kind of thing that I go into with my clients. So you take all that and you get to, I'm going to get X amount of leads coming in from this thing, like my website. I'm going to get X amount coming in from this thing, could be the Facebook group that you run. I'm going to get more from this other area. I'm going to pay for this. I'm going to cold call for this. I'm going to email market for this, right? And that all adds up to that total that you need, all right? And there's always something, some element that you have control over in pouring the pitcher of water in there, okay? And speeding it up, adding pieces to the puzzle. All right, 3rd level is execution. I have the strategy. I want to make this much money. I'm going to use this target market and sell them this thing at this amount of money. I need to make this many sales for this to happen, and I'm going to distribute them over the months with seasonality based on what I think, okay? There might be no seasonality. It's up to you. I'm selling stuff this time of year. Tactics. How am I going to get to those sales? where are the leads coming from and in what quantity. I'm going to estimate first, and then with reality, as the data comes in, I'm going to adjust. And then after a while, remember I said most people don't stick with it longer than 3 days. Imagine if you stuck with it for 3 months, you'd gather some data, right? I'm now able to adjust. I know it's not 400 leads to a sale, it's 300 for right now with what I got. The quality of that traffic source, the quality of that conversion tool. Okay, now I can begin to tweak things and adjust and try and improve on that. But I have a baseline. Developing a baseline is really important. Okay, who is going to do the tactical level stuff? I don't have to do everything. I don't do everything. A lot of this stuff I hand off. I have a podcast. I don't do everything for that. I hand it off. Okay, so, and that brings me one really good prospect a month right now. That's generally what it is. It's relatively new. There was like a month there where I got bumped out because of a hurricane, and we're building it up. So then you want to think about feedback loops, and I'm going to wind it up there. This has been fun though. I've enjoyed it. The feedback loops are the most difficult little buggers in every business that I've ever been in. Just setting something up so that you get feedback about how long something has been worked on for, whether it's been done or not, whether something's happening on it or it's stalled. It's so challenging. It just really requires expertise on how are you going to set up your performance indicators and find out, because I will tell you from brutal experience in all the businesses that I've run, there are times where you look up and there's a fire burning over there not too far away, and you're like, how did that get started, and how did I not know that it got started, and it's burning and nobody's really looking at it. And so there's a problem. The thing was due 2 weeks ago. It's 4 weeks later and nobody's said anything about it, and it's just burning over, this tire fire burning over there. It's crazy. So having a feedback loop that is effective to make sure that you're on top of things, you got to keep your thumb on things, you can't just delegate and abdicate, right, is really key here, and it's a serious problem that needs to be overcome. So if you want my help and you got a serious business, you're ready to invest in yourself, it's a tax deductible expense, by the way, then come and talk to me. We'll work on all these 3 levels, on the strategy level, the tactics level, and the execution level, and get this thing ready for 2019 for you. Not a lot of time left in the year. I probably only, this is typically done over 3 sessions over Zoom, so we just talk kind of like we are right now. We get some information going, we get some systems set up, and then you go do it. And I have an option also for me to be kind of your accountability partner for the year. Over that, to make sure that things are happening, and also if some of those tire fires pop up unexpectedly, as they will, that you have my expertise with all that broad range of experience, right, to come in and help you. So thanks for being here. I've really enjoyed this today, and we'll talk soon.